Shalom, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Journey Through Torah. This week, we're going to continue through the book of Leviticus, or Vayikra, as we're learning. It is about Yahweh calling out to us and about relationship. And so, one of these things that we see is that when we approach Yahweh, we understand, the differences between clean, unclean, holy, and common. These are things that we're called to discern within ourselves and around us as we approach the holy place, the holy things, and of course, Yahweh himself. And as you can see, or I don't know if you can see, I have a friend today. His name is Smokey. So you can, if he comes across through here, it's Smokey. One of the things that we start to see as we approach Yahweh is that he is holy. Now, the thing is, he wants us to be with him, but there's this divide. So in order to be in his presence, he has to make us holy. See, because either he needs to change or we need to change in this relationship to dwell together. Well, he doesn't change, so we need to change, and he provides that for us. He changes us. When we come to him and he redeems us, he changes us, and we come into his presence like that. So there's some things that we learn here. When Yahweh is telling us that we are supposed to be a holy people, it is because he is holy. Now, the interesting thing about this is when Yahweh is telling us that we are to be a holy people, he doesn't necessarily tell us how to be more holy. Okay, what he says is he makes us holy. He says you are holy, be holy. And then he tells us ways of life to walk in this path. When you think of someone being holy, what comes to mind? And a lot of times there's some negative connotations that come with it. Okay, when we say someone holy, we often think a holier than thou, or just things like that associate someone who looks down upon everyone else, or someone who's elevated above everyone else. And guys, that's not the case. It really isn't. What is the situation is Yahweh is wanting us to be holy in every manner of life and everything that's around us and everything that we do. We are elevating the everyday mundane things of life into a place of being used for Yahweh, being a people of his presence, being a people to walk in his kingdom, to walk in his ways. Okay? And so he says he's holy, he makes us holy, and he wants us to be undefiled. All right? That's why a lot of times when you see be holy, somewhere soon around that, you're going to find ways that defile us being explained. Okay? So there's some things that we need to learn regarding this. All right? First off, let's start with Leviticus 19. There's a double portion here, Acharei kedoshim. We're going to focus on kedoshim this week. So in kedoshim, we see in Leviticus 19, it says, Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to all the congregation of the people of Israel, and say to them, you shall be holy, for I, Yahweh your God, am holy. So again, this leads us back to the idea of what is holy, right? Well, one of the things I'm looking at is in the Acharei commentary. If you don't have one, it's an awesome commentary on the Torah. Okay, I'm going to read an excerpt here in the commentary on far as what is holy. In the Acharei, I'm looking at. I got cat hairs flying around me here, guys. And I'm not editing it out. Talk about being real here, right? And yes, I need reading glasses. In Exodus chapter 19. We read, so this parsha is one of the richest and most exalted in the Torah. It begins with the words, you shall be holy. So what is holiness? To be holy is to be different or to be set apart from the ordinary. Hirsch defines holiness as occurring when a morally free human being has complete dominion over one's own energies and inclinations and the temptations associated with them and places them at the service of God's will. And Buber says holiness is found not in rising above the level of one's neighbors, but in relationships, in human beings recognizing the latent divinity of other people, even as God recognizes the latent divinity in each of us. A point that I'm making here is that it's about relationship. And acknowledging that because we have been redeemed and we are in covenant with the Most High, okay, we can see the presence of Yah in our lives, but we need to stop a minute and see the presence of Yahweh in the lives of others. Okay, and this again is learning to see holy, learning to see what he has set apart. Okay, I'm going to continue. So the Torah is holy not only because it comes from God, but because it leads to God. Buber wrote that Judaism does not divide life into the holy and the profane, but into the holy and the not yet holy. Kind of like the way it puts that. And when it says, you shall be holy, in Hebrew, this summons the phrase in the plural, implying that the capacity for holiness is not restricted to spiritually gifted people. The plural phrasing suggests further that holiness is most easily achieved in the context of a community. It is difficult for a person to live a life of holiness without others. Noah wasn't able to do it. Even Abraham lapsed into unworthy behavior when he's surrounded by people who were not striving for holiness as he was. When a community dedicates itself to the pursuit of holiness, its members support and reinforce each other. That's the thing we're looking at. So when he says you are to be holy, was he speaking to one individual or was he speaking to the entirety of the people of Israel? The thing is, he is speaking to a people that he has set apart, a people that he has redeemed, and a people that he is calling to himself. And when we approach Yahweh, we need to stop. And yes, we need to keep our focus and our eyes on him. But there's a time we need to stop and look around to see who else is standing there with us. Okay, sometimes it might surprise you. And we need to receive as Yahweh receives. We need to learn to walk this path together in a way that is honorable and pleasing to him. Again, being a people that are set apart does not mean that you are a people that are rude, crude, and just don't care about anybody else. Okay, a holy people, a people that are set apart, will care about the things of Yahweh and the things that he considers to be clean. But of course, he wants all to be able to come and be in his presence. He wants to be able to have a relationship with all that he has created. So again, we need to learn to try to point that direction. Okay, to live in his kingdom here and now means to show it to others that aren't in it. Okay, and is that something that they are desiring to be a part of? You know, is it when you think of a holy people, say, wow, you know, I really want that? Or when you think of a holy people, do you think, man, I don't want to be like that? Again, you know, we need to make sure that our focus is on the Father, but understanding that also affects our relationship and how we treat and handle one another as well. Okay, so let's look at a few more scriptures for today. Hebrews 12, 14 and 15 says, strive for peace with whom? With everyone, and for holiness, without which no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness springs up and causes trouble, and by it many become defiled. Again, a holy people will have a desire to show his kingdom here to those around. You know, strive for peace. Now, I know it doesn't mean peace at all compromise, at all cost, okay? It says strive for peace, okay? It doesn't mean you have to change what you believe. It doesn't mean that you have to live your life differently, but strive for peace. In other words, I'm not setting out to be offensive, okay? Now, granted, you can't please everyone, nor should you, okay? Nor should you even try. But the word of Yahweh is an offense to those that oppose it. But if the people are offended at the word, let's make sure that they are offended because it is the word that is revealing a wicked nature of a heart, and not because it's being delivered to them in a way that is offensive. Okay? You know, when you're presented with things that need to change in your life, for most people, okay, our first reaction is not, oh, thanks for pointing this out to me. Okay? So we need to be able to show the heart of the Father as a people that are set apart. We need to be able to show the heart of the Father to whomever, okay, to love all and to express that to whomever comes in our contact, right? So Matthew 5:48 says, you therefore must be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. Now, this Greek word it means complete, completeness, or perfect, but the related Hebrew words that we find in the Septuagint are shalem, which means sacrifice, like peace offering, okay? Shalem, which means complete, peaceable, perfect, quiet, whole. Tachlit, which is a completion, end, or perfect. And tamim, which is integrity or truth, without blemish, undefiled. And the thing here, when we think perfect, we think, oh, perfect means no sin. It means never make a mistake. It means never do anything wrong. And that's not really the case, biblically speaking. To be perfect just means to be upright. Okay, it means that your heart is set on the right things. It doesn't mean that you will never make a mistake. Okay, when we think to be perfect means I have a heart that is upright and pure before Yahweh. Okay, that's some things that we need to pay attention to. Be perfect as your Heavenly Father is perfect. In other words, He is trying to make us like Him, to be molded and fashioned into His image. But guys, that's a day-by-day process, because we still live in this world. We still have earthly bodies, and we still have some desires and some things in our lives that need to change and some things that need to die. But thank Yah for His grace and His mercy that He does lead us day by day, step by step with Him, right? Okay, let's keep going. 1 Peter 1:14-16 says, "As obedient children, do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance, but as He who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct, since it is written, you shall be holy, for I am holy." Peter is saying that being holy will be expressed in our conduct and our behavior. Okay, now it doesn't mean that the things that we do make us holy. See, that's a problem. That's where you may hear terms of holier than thou or self-righteous and things like that. And that's not how we should be. Okay. But at the same time, because we are a people redeemed, there is a certain way that Yahweh desires for us to walk. Again, we all have a place and a role in the kingdom. We all have a place and a role in the body of Yahweh, okay? But we all have to understand there are different parts of the body. So we have no room to look down on anyone. And we are all people trying to strive for Him. We're all parts of the body. Each part of the body functions the same, not the same way. It all functions differently. It acts differently, moves differently, perceives the things around it differently. But yet the goal is to have a body that is moving forward and living life as it should. So we need to play our part in that. You know, we can't tell the other parts of the body to do the things the way that we want it done, right? So again, the focus has to be on Yahweh, but we need to learn to work together, okay? And that will be expressed by our conduct and our behavior, okay? So when we look at our behavior, how are we acting in ways toward one another that pleases the Father? You know, these are things that we need to stop to consider. So we are instructed to be holy. Why? Because Yahweh is holy. We are not instructed to be holy to try to earn anything from Yahweh. He says to be holy because He is holy. So for no other reason than I am your Elohim. He is our Elohim. In other words, He is the one that we serve. He is holy. Therefore, we are holy. Much like the first fruit. If the first fruit is received, then the entire crop is good and acceptable and is good for use, right? But He is our Elohim. He is the one that redeemed us. And if He is the one that redeems us, He has the right to tell us how He desires for us to live, right? In other words, He's going to instruct us in righteousness. He's going to instruct us in ways of holiness. He's going to instruct us in ways that are showing what He is desiring to express here in the earth, and He wants to do it through you, okay? Again, we are instructed to be holy because He is holy. Why? Because He says, I am Yahweh your God. First time this phrase was used is in the Torah is in Exodus 6, verses 6 and 7, where it says, "Wherefore say to the children of Israel, I am Yahweh, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. I will rid you out of their bondage. I will redeem you with a stretched out arm and with great judgments, and I will take you for a people, and I will be to you a God, and you shall know I am Yahweh your God, who does what? Which brings you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians." The very first time He says, I am your God, He uses it in the context of I have redeemed you. So again, because He has redeemed us, we need to learn how to live a life that is pleasing to Him. not to try to earn anything from him, not to try to get anything from him. We do not walk in the ways of Torah to try to earn anything from Yahweh. But because we are his, let's strive to be obedient children, not disobedient children, right? Ones that please him, ones that makes him smile, ones that honors him. Okay? 2 Corinthians 7:1 says, since we have these promises, beloved, let us cleanse ourselves from every defilement of the body and spirit, bringing holiness to completion in the fear of God. Again, because you are a people redeemed, we need to learn to walk in the ways of holy, in the ways of righteousness, in the ways of clean. And that is what he gives us instruction for. Okay? So there's this way of life that is a way of holiness. And what is that way? In Isaiah, we talk about a highway of holiness. And what do we find in that? Okay, so Isaiah 35, verse 8 says, a highway shall be there, and it shall be called the way of holiness. Who is on it? The unclean shall not pass over it. And it shall belong to those who walk on the way. Even if they are fools, they shall not go astray. So what we find is, who is there? Well, the ones who are redeemed. They will walk in this path. Even if they're not so bright, even if they make mistakes, they will be on this path because they are the people who are redeemed. Okay? And there will be safety on this path, because we see in verse 9, no lion shall be there, nor shall any ravenous beast come up on it. They shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And where does this path lead? Where does this path go? And the ransomed of Yahweh shall return and come to Zion with singing. Everlasting joy shall be on their heads. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. So again, these people who are redeemed and who are called holy and walking in his ways, walking in his path, they're going to lead us back to Zion, okay? Lead us back to Yahweh, a place and a people of his presence, and a place where he said he's going to dwell forever, okay? And this is what he desires for you, right? Okay, so who is called to be holy? Well, the short answer is everybody. But it is a people that are redeemed that are going to strive to be like this, okay? Again, not saying we have to get it perfect to be accepted. No, but our heart is to do what is pleasing to Yahweh. So we are a people that are holy. He just wants us to walk like it, all right? It's kind of like, okay, be a man. Okay, well, if you are, then you are, but act like it. Okay, that's kind of the point, right? What we see in Leviticus 20:26, it says, you shall be holy to me, for I, Yahweh, am holy, and have separated you from the people. Why? That you should be mine. The people were set apart. That's holy. Set apart to be holy. Why? Because we're his. So because we are his, we are holy. Leviticus 11:44. For I, Yahweh your God, for I am Yahweh your God. Consecrate yourselves, therefore, and be holy, for I am holy. You shall not defile yourselves with any swarming thing that crawls on the ground. For I am Yahweh, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. Who else? We see in Deuteronomy 7:6-8. You are a people holy to Yahweh your God. Yahweh your God has chosen you to be a people for his treasured possession out of all the people who are in the face of the earth. It was not because you were more in number than any other people that Yahweh set his love on you and chose you, for you were the fewest of peoples. But it is because Yahweh loves you and is keeping the oath that he swore to your fathers, that Yahweh has brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the house of slavery and from the hand of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. So because he loves you, he redeems you and he brings you out, and he wants you to live a better way. He wants you to live in a life that brings blessing, and a life that brings peace, and a life that continually maintains being in his presence. Okay, we know and we've learned that uncleanness can remove people from the presence of Yahweh. Well, sin does the same, even more so, right? So we have to be mindful. We have to be mindful of our lives, our heart, what's around us, and coming into the presence of Yahweh. You see, that's the beautiful thing about it, though. We don't do anything to come to him other than acknowledge we need him. Okay, this is repentance. I have messed up. I have not walked in your ways. I desire to follow you. You are my Elohim, right? So now we are walking with him. And if we're walking with him, we kind of need to be where he is, right? So we've got to learn to do that. And as we're walking with him, Yahweh is concerned with those around us, with those around him. And so this is not just a matter of me and my relationship with Yahweh. Again, he said you are to be a holy people, not just, hey, you one guy, you're the one that's supposed to be holy. No, we're supposed to be a holy people. And as such, it's kind of sad to say it, but, as you go through and you read through throughout the Torah, really, but here, especially in chapter 19, there's different things and different behaviors that describe as a holy people, this is what you're going to act like. This is behavior that you're going to acknowledge, okay? And Yahweh is concerned with how we treat other people. All right, it's kind of like right after the 10 Commandments were given, or the 10 words, the 10 Devarim, or the 10 words. Right after that, there's a portion of Scripture called Mishpatim that all is about relationships and how we treat one another and judging righteously between problems that arise. So again, because we are a holy people, it will affect how we treat those around us, okay? Holy people will treat others in a way that shows the heart of Yahweh. 1 Peter 2:11-12 says, Beloved, I urge you as sojourners and exiles to abstain from the passions of the flesh which wage war against your soul. Keep your conduct among the Gentiles honorable, so that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may see your good deeds and glorify God on the day of his visitation. Again, he's saying, because you are a holy people, live like it, right? Back to Leviticus 19, verse 14, it says, You shall not curse the deaf or put a stumbling block before the blind. You shall fear your God. I am Yahweh. I believe this is literally and physically, but I do believe this is spiritually as well. Those who don't have the eyes to see or the ears to hear just because they haven't seen it or heard it. Not because their heart may be against it, but because they just haven't seen it. Well, let's not make our lives in such a way that we're putting stumbling blocks in front of the people who can't see the path. Let's not speak things to them that are going to cause them not to hear. Again, how we present something is just as important sometimes as what is being presented, because someone can reject what is being presented because of how it's being presented. Okay, so we as a people of Yahweh need to be mindful of how we present something. And we do need to speak up for those who can't speak, or to be able to help protect those who can't hear or can't see. We do need to be able to do this. And I do believe this is physically and spiritually as well. Okay, a couple scriptures here. Proverbs 31:8 says, Open your mouth for the mute and the rights of all who are destitute. Psalm 146:8 says, Yahweh opens the eyes of the blind. Yahweh lifts up those who are bowed down. Yahweh loves the righteous. And Isaiah 42:5-7 says, Thus says God, Yahweh, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and what comes from it, who gives breath to the people on it and the spirit to those who walk in it. I am Yahweh. I have called you in righteousness. I will take you by the hand and keep you, and I will give you as a covenant, look at that, a covenant for the people, a light for the nations, to do what? To open the eyes that are blind, to bring out the prisoners from the dungeon, and from the prison those who sit in darkness. Guys, the point I want to make here is we don't have to wait for the world to change to make a difference. We can change our life, and by us changing our life, submitting ourselves to Yahweh, maybe we can change the world. Maybe we can make a difference in the lives of those around us, and that will cause waves of change in the earth. Maybe. Maybe not, but maybe. Shouldn't we as a people of Yahweh desire to change our lives to be a reflection of what he is desiring us to be? And that just takes submission. Like Rav Shaul said, I die daily, right? Sometimes there's things in us that we just need to acknowledge don't need to be there. Okay, and just submitting to Yahweh, and we come to him, and in the process, he changes us. A quote from Jonathan Sacks in his book called Morality. And I could be wrong, but I do believe this was his last work, his most recent book. He states this: we have material needs, and they are important. But we also have psychological, spiritual, and moral needs, and they too are important. Once our basic needs for sustenance and security have been met, we are more enriched by what we give than by what we receive. So there is something deep within us that yearns for connection with others, and that has been denied expression by much of what has happened over the past half century, in particular, the acceleration of the past decade. What he's saying is that, and in his book, Morality, he says that we need to stop being focused on I and start learning to focus on we. Okay, when we start to see as we are a covenant people, or we need to be a people to dwell in the presence of Yahweh, it will affect your mindset and how you approach even just day-to-day life. Okay, so we need to stop looking at just it's all about me and it's what I want and me, and focusing on we. What does Yahweh desire for us as a people? Because he says that we used to be Gentiles. We used to be without him. But now he's calling us into his presence. Now he's calling us to be a people, whereas we were not a people. It doesn't mean we were not human. It meant we were not in a place of covenant. And that's important too, guys. Because if we are a people that are redeemed, we are a people in covenant. And as a people in covenant, we need to learn to walk in a way that is holy. And again, that will affect everything that we do. That will have an impact on the lives of the people around us as well. The question here is, do we serve Yahweh for a specific desire? Do we serve him because we want something from him? Or do we serve him and do what he desires for no other reason than we love him, we are in covenant with him, he redeemed us, and therefore we will learn to walk in his ways. We see that in Deuteronomy 8, where he says that he allowed you to be humbled and tested so that you would know whether you truly love God or not. Whether you would know, okay? And he says that you would learn that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. So that you would know to trust him. You would learn to do so. In the test for a false prophet in Deuteronomy, we find that God allowed the false prophet in their midst so that the people would know whether they love the Lord their God with all their heart or not. Are they going to listen to this false prophet because he's going to lead them astray in what they want to hear? Or are they going to cling to Yahweh and his word and walk in his ways so that they would know what is in their heart? Okay, so that's what we need to do. When we approach Yahweh, we need to learn and be honest with what's in our heart. And as we do that, he's going to change us. Okay, because once we're honest and we start to see he is holy and we fall short. All right, and knowing, so what can I do to alleviate the situation? Really? The only answer is submission. Surrender yourself to Yahweh and start to learn step by step to walk in his ways. This is not overwhelming to walk with him, guys. It's just a step by step, day by day occurrence. Take it a step at a time, okay? So the question here I have is, do we approach our relationship with Yahweh as being in a contract or being in a covenant? There is a difference, okay? A contract, if I do this, I get something out of it. And again, that's still a me or I focus in that. Covenant, it's not all about me. Covenant is about the betterment of the relationship, okay, and about learning to walk in that relationship. A contract, if I do this, I get that, okay. That's not how we should approach it. And again, I'm going to reference Rabbi Jonathan Sacks. He says, a contract is a transaction. A covenant is a relationship. A contract is about interests. A covenant is about identity. That is why contracts benefit, but covenants transform. A covenant creates a moral community. It binds people together in a bond of mutual responsibility and care. What matters in a covenant is not how big or small is the group thereby included, but the commitment. It is the undertaking of responsibility of others, knowing that they too undertake responsibility for us. In a covenant, what matters is not wealth or power, but the transformation that takes place when I embrace a world larger than the self. Covenants heal what markets and states sometimes harm. In other words, just the living life in a secular world, right? The markets and governments and all these things, they can help destroy us, if we're not careful. But yet, when we understand covenant brings a place of healing. Contracts, people fall out of contracts. People don't hold up their end of the bargain. But a covenant with the Most High will always stand. He will never turn his back on his covenant. So once we enter into a covenant with him, that's peace. That's what we need to learn to follow. And when we do this, let's not approach his word or his things that he has given us for life as burdens or just, I have to do this, I have to do the other thing. No, he is teaching us how to be a holy people. He is teaching us how to be a people that carry his presence with us. He is teaching us how to be a people that are showing his kingdom here now. And so it does often come down to focus. What we focus on is what we become like. And so what you continually are feeding yourself is the way you start to think about things. It's the way you start to act about things, the way you talk about things. It starts to affect your worldview and how you view life and people and everything in it. This is why we're told in Scripture to do this. Philippians 4:8-9. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you. Guys, this is my desire for all who are listening or watching this today, is that we learn to walk in his ways, that we walk in his peace, that we focus on the things that build each other up, and show the heart of the Father, show the heart of Yahweh to those around us. We need to be a people of his presence. That's the only way that we're going to have an impact on the world around us. The world doesn't need ideologies or philosophies. It needs Yahweh. And we're only going to have an impact in that by showing our life to him. So again, I hope that these teachings that we go through, they challenge you. I hope they encourage you. And I hope they show us the heart of the Father. And I hope it just continues to bring you into ways that continually seek him. So until next time, may you be blessed and shalom.